Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 22 with the LA Dodgers and our tour through history. Last episode, we realized that Mickey Mantle is pretty good. I think we realized that every episode. But more importantly, we did our best to try to fix our rotation. I'm not convinced it's as good as it should be, but it's at least better now. We also saw Eddie Robinson's value quickly plummet. And I think Jim Marshall's got a really good chance of starting out as our first baseman next year. That's a big for sure. We also called up Bill Mazeroski and traded Schoendienst. And his Major League debut wasn't spectacular, but it shows us enough to show that if he can continue to build on his success in the minors, we should have a pretty decent second baseman for a few years to come. We are hiring a new scouting director, though, so most of these ratings can't be trusted just yet. But I think this is going to be an important offseason. We did address our shortstop defense, and Tony Kubek was everything we hoped for. Defensively, offensively, there could be a bit more to his game. But to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, his errors is weird, but I'm not that worried about it. To be perfectly honest, if he's hitting 286 and hitting 38 doubles, I'm pretty happy with that. That's a good bit of offense from a player who should hopefully be much better defensively starting next season. Because 35 errors and only 148 games is pretty bonkers, and he should be better than that. But we'll see what happens. So, catcher Sherm Lawler is unfortunately aging like we all are. And we probably want to start thinking to the future for him. And Hal Smith, by the way, is not that future. I wouldn't be upset if Hal Smith was our starting catcher for maybe like one season. But it's just going to take a lot for him to be a good everyday starting catcher. And we just need more top-line starting pitching talent. So starting pitching, maybe first base, but probably not. Maybe second or short. We really just need more and more depth so that we can absorb injuries should they happen. Jackie Brandt is still a perfectly fine center fielder. I have no issues with him. But there's somebody else who cost me like a win in the field. Was it Hogue? I mean, Hogue wasn't great, but he wasn't awful either. A lot's going to depend on who's available by the time we draft, so let's just go ahead and start simming forward. We're going to get our trainer and our scouting director. I sure hope that we will. And we got them both. Delightful. Delightful. We also want to think about a long-term replacement for Minnie Mignoso, and maybe that person's already on the roster in the person of Felipe Alou. I definitely want to see Alou develop a bit more, but he's definitely going to have some kind of role on our team in the near future. Because let's face it, Mignoso just keeps getting injured. Although he did lead the league in plate appearances last year, which is pretty good. But anyway, let us proceed, my friends, and see what we can manage in the draft. Mickey Mantle got another MVP again. And that is nothing if not consistent. And literally only Mantle got a Silver Slugger. We're not doing well in the awards other than MVP. Which I guess is the most important award, so I guess I can't be too upset about that. Okay. The Hall of Fame. Who's our first timers? Hank Borowy, pass. Ben Chapman. Yeah, I'm good with that. He's got 3,000 hits. He'll probably make it. And I think he deserves it. He's a little bit light on the resume for someone with 3,000 hits, but 3,000 hits is kind of a ticket all in and of itself. So I'm pretty happy with him making it. I'm sure going to try for Carl Fisher again. I don't know what's going to happen, but it'd be nice if it did. Yes, to Hank Greenberg. He's not the Hall of Famer that the real Hank Greenberg was, but he's still a worthy Hall of Famer in my opinion. Same with Ernie Lombardi. Wally Moses had 2,700 hits and finished with a 316 batting average. That's a pretty decent career, I think. Yes to Monty Stratton. Jim Tabor, no. Roy Weatherly, no. He's right there in a lot of ways, but he's not quite over the top for me, so I don't think I like that. I will go for Rudy York though. I love me some good catchers, and he was a pretty good one. I think it's going to do it for my ballot, to be honest with you. I'm not really seeing any other players here that leap out at me as definitely deserving a vote. Earl Averill's not going to make it. He's kind of screwed through no fault of his own. Tommy Bridges is fine. I wouldn't be sad if he made the Hall of Fame, but again, I'm not really that interested. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit more selective at this point just because there's so many starters that are going to clutch. They're going to kind of be crammed into this tiny window. And so if you're not winning these 200 games, you have to have a pretty amazing rest of your roster for me to consider you. Bubbo Newsome, you're looking at almost a 4 ERA. That's awfully high for a pitcher from your generation. Yeah, this sounds good. Let's submit the bat. I predict Chapman will make it, and maybe Lombardi will make it, and maybe Moses. But I think Moses is of those three the least likely to make it. And maybe Greenberg make it. We've got a 4-man class. I hope we do. Poor Mickey Mantle just cannot buy a Triple Crown. He always finishes a few points in some particular element here. So, Jim Cott, new Hall of Famer actually, Bob Gibson, Willie McCovey, Tim McCarver. Not McCarver, he's not Hall of Famer, but the other three are. Billy Williams is in the Hall, right? Are you the one who played for the Cubs? Yeah, I think he is in the Hall of Fame. Deservedly so. Tommy Davis was a really good player for a long time. Pumpsy Green, better known as the first black player to play for the Boston Red Sox. They sure took their sweet time doing it, but they did. Friends, I'm going to quickly fix my scouting because I know it's wrong. Hey, it actually worked. We're picking 12th. So a lot of the players I'd be most excited to get my hands on are just not going to be there by the time we pick. I mean, I would be over the moon if we got Bob Gibson. I think if I could pick any single player in this particular draft, I would take Bob Gibson. And I would be over the moon. Jim Perry or Mike Cuellar would also be pretty solid choices. The only hitter I would take would be Willie McCovey. It's actually a decent draft to get a starting pitcher. It's just going to depend on who's left. I would be utterly shocked if Bob Gibson even makes it to the third pick. Let's find out. Oh, that just feels right. St. Louis ending up with Bob Gibson. I'm happy. I love it when the teams that have like great all-time players get those players on their team. Who's Boston going to take? Maybe McCovey? It took Gary Peters over Jim Cott. Interesting. There goes Chris Short. There goes Willie McCovey. He's a Kansas City Athletic. Okay. Alright. So here's what we're faced with picking where we're picking. I mean, Zoilo Versalles played for the Dodgers at one point, but not for very long. Like, we've got to take a starting pitcher. I think that's pretty obvious. I don't think there's anything we'd be taking other than a starting pitcher. So that gives us three choices. Jack Fisher, Jack Kralik, and Earl Wilson. Fisher is intriguing to me. He's both the youngest, but also the most polished. He's got good movement, pretty decent control, 3 pitches that are underwhelming, and he throws 90-92. He's a strike thrower. He's going to constantly put the ball where it needs to go, and he's not going to go too many homers. We already have a couple pitchers like that, though. I'd like a big strikeout pitcher if we can manage one. That may not be realistic, though. So let's keep looking. Jack Kralik is even more of a strike thrower than Jack Fisher. Earl Wilson's got a bit more punch to his strikeouts, but we've been burned before by a control pitcher who didn't master his control. I think we take Jack Fisher. He's both relatively close to Major League ready right now, and secondarily, he's actually very young. I think we take Jack Fisher. I'm not convinced it's the right call, but I think it's the best call we can make given the circumstances. Norm Sherry. Big power, okay fielder, I guess. Let's get some Fred Green, though. No, you know what? No, I'm not going to get suckered like that. Are there any batting megastars? So, Dan Davik is interesting to me. He's certainly not a flawless prospect, but he's a good athlete, and he plays center field quite well, and he looks to have elite power, at least good power. This is a man who, if he takes a step forward in hitting for contact, could be a regular. It's a bit unorthodox, especially when there are better power hitters available, but I like the fact he's a competent center fielder. I think we're going to take a good old Danny boy here. I recognize I could have taken and possibly should have taken Norm Sherry, but at the end of the day, I still think I made the right call. This is just not a very deep draft. It's a very good draft at the top, but we're not at the top, so give me some Fred Green. Some Fred Green tomatoes. I'm joking, I actually hate fried green tomatoes, but it was too good a pun to let go. Let me know in the comments if that was a great pun or the greatest pun. I can't wait to check this video after it goes live on Monday and all of my subscriptions just disappear. Everyone in protest is like, no, fuck this guy. And I'll have earned it. I'll have earned it. So, this tells a couple of very important things. First of all, that Jim Marshall's making our opening day roster. He's clearly the best first baseman in our system. I would love to trade Eddie Robinson. I don't think I'm going to get any decent offers for him, though. I'll kick the tires and see what's around. Yeah, I'm not getting very good deals. I'm not getting awful deals, but these are players that don't really help us. They just kind of don't. Oh dear, our new scout really doesn't like Ned Garber. Like, very little has changed about him. I'm not sure why all of a sudden Ned Garber looks like a trash tier pitcher. Do you just really love tools? He's not very toolsy. He does like his tools, but he's not that bad. He did lose some movement, admittedly, and he's definitely on the wrong side of 30. Are there any good pitchers on the trading block? There is Ray Martin, who is not a good pitcher. Larry Jansen, who is underwhelming. Gross. We may wait and see if we have any kind of a... What's what I'm looking for? If we have any kind of injury, and then maybe try to fill that role then. Okay, it is the 5th draft there is. Okay. Oh, it's the other Frank Thomas. Nah. None of you guys really do it for me. Yeah, I'm happy. Jim Wog. It's a good thing there aren't any orcs in Major League Baseball, or that guy'd be pretty dangerous. York, Moses, and Chapman all made it. I'm not surprised about Chapman and York. I'm a little surprised about Moses. I'm a little surprised he got in with so much of the vote, but that's not bad. Yep, there goes Earl Averill and Tommy Bridges. Vince DiMaggio didn't get a single vote. Yikes. Yikes. That's fine, though. I'm good with that. Let's delete our emails. We have way too many. You're cutting my budget. That makes me sad, but okay. Oh, you've done it again, you sly dogs. Give me my scout. I trust him. I trust him with your life. I don't need to know that shit. Alright, so, my young players. Marshall, Green, Alou, Fisher, Davik. You all get called up for some spring training reps. Really? Moving Mini Mendoza to first, huh? I'm not mad. That's an interesting way to solve our problem. We'll have to see how that plays out. Oh, your control went in the toilet. That's not great. Maybe it's just rust, though. Maybe as you get some reps in spring training, you'll figure your shit out. Oh man, Ray Jablonski is slightly faster, which means instead of stealing one base every 5 years, he'll steal one base every 4 years. Truly the greatest player of our times. Yeah. Poor Don Besant. That's 60 days on the IL for you. Okay, let's get the roster set up. Gene Conley, you keep making your way back to the roster, and I keep sending you down. Billy Pierce is marginally more useful as a starting pitcher. What did I make him? I made him into a designated hitter. That's hilarious. Yeah, Pierce isn't useless as a starter. I'm not going to let him start, but I think that's just a better role for him. Red Embry. If you won't take a demotion, I'm just going to release you. You're 41 years old. You've had an outstanding career. I think you deserve to choose where you play your last season, if it is indeed your last. Goodbye, Red. How many pictures am I rocking? I'm rocking 13 pictures. That is entirely too many pictures to be rocking. Tomanek to the minors. The thing is, either Pierce or Garber has to agree to go to the minors, and I don't think either one of them will. Yeah, they won't. Which means I have to take someone who's actually better and demote them. You know what, Red Wit? No, you were too good last season, and actual performance has to count for something. Then again, you're not going to get pitching all that much anyway. Yeah, you can go back to the minors. That's fine. Setting us up with 11 pitchers. I'm fine with this pitching developments as they exist right now. With the difference that I want Billy Piercy first on deck to be an emergency starter. So 2 rookies are going to make the roster, and Fred Green and good old Fred Green Tomatoes and Jack Fisher. Okay, I have 4 first basemen. That's 4 first basemen too many. I'm kidding. I don't need no first baseman, but I definitely don't need 4 of them. So the game really wants you to move Munoso to first base. He's not terrible at it. And that does get Alou into the everyday lineup. I almost asked, who do I have in left field? And like, oh yeah, Mickey Mantle, that guy. You're kind of selling me on it, actually. It's not something I would have considered, but like, it's not like Munoso is any kind of amazing outfielder, and Alou is at least decent. He's a really good hitter. Yeah, you know what? You made the roster, my old chum, or my new chum, I should say. So Eddie Robinson, I need to buy some time on him to see who might be available on opening day. I don't need Harry Hannabrink anymore. So I'm just going to waive him for assignment. I definitely don't need 6 outfielders, for sure. So first we're going to send down Jim Small. Dan Dobek makes the roster. Bill Taylor, I'm going to get you through waivers, because I have a feeling that you'll get through easily. Here's the question. Are we better served having Jim Marshall in the big leagues getting backup reps and pinch hitting? Or are we better served having Gil Cohen as a very good defensive outfielder who isn't terrible at hitting and letting Marshall keep developing in the minor leagues? Marshall does have a tiny bit of room to grow, so I think Marshall goes to the minors. No, he doesn't. That's stupid. Why would I let him go when I could just get rid of Eddie Robinson? Yeah, Eddie, you're gone, my dude. Okay, so that brings us to 25, meaning Jim Marshall does make the roster, and I'm fine with that. Let's start building the lineup. Okay. Easiest choice I'll make all season. Hello, Mr. Number 3 hitter. Easy. So, do we have a clear leadoff guy? It's probably Mignoso. He's a little overqualified to be a leadoff guy, but that's fine. And then Don Hogue hits second. Actually, let's let Felipe Alou bat second. He's got really good bat control and he's pretty fast, and that's a good combo to have hitting second. Cleanup is an interesting question. Our best power hitter isn't even in the lineup right now, which is Jim Marshall. I guess Alou's gonna hit cleanup because he's got much better power, and I want to make sure the best power hitters are nicely placed in the lineup. Jackie Brandt will hit fifth. Don Hogue, you can bat second. Sherm Lawler bats sixth. Tony Kubek seventh, and Bill Mazeroski bats eighth. I'm not super convinced this is the best possible lineup we could have, and I'm really, really nervous about not playing Jim Marshall. Like, he's such a good hitter that we kind of need to make a spot for him, but not at the expense of a player who's consistently been quite good. Now, Mignoso is 33, so there's certainly no harm in having a second first baseman on the roster, and we'll even let Marshall start once a week. I think that's fair. Every 7 games, you get to start. Hal Smith, same for you. I'd very much like you to take some of the burden off of Sherm here. So please start once every 7 games, once a week. Jim Marshall is also our number 1 pinch hitter. You know what I'm going to do, Jim? I'm going to make you my primary backup in the corners, too. I want you playing somewhere as often as possible. And I think that's going to be really helpful for the team. To have a great player like you available in as many situations as possible. Mr. Cone, you're going to be the number 2 pinch hitter, and you're going to be the level 3 backup in the corners. Dan Davik is going to be our primary backup center fielder, and he's also going to be a number 3 pinch hitter. Yeah, Gil Cohen, however you say your name, you're going to be a pinch runner. Willie Miranda backs up short and third. Billy Martin backs up second. And Miranda backs up at second, and Martin backs up third and short. Mr. Cone is at least a reasonable center fielder, so we can stick him there. And I think that's good. I think this is a reasonably strong lineup from top to bottom. I wish we had a bit more difference in our skill sets, because we have a bunch of players that have decent contact and decent power. I mean, Mignoso and Hogue are basically the same guy. There's very little separating them, except for Mignoso is a tiny bit better. I don't know how to feel about Kubek yet. Brandt is a bit like Hogue and Mignoso. We're not a great defensive ball club, but we're decent. And we're good where it matters, I think. I think wherever we need the most help is where we have him. If you had told me during this episode, Avi, you're going to have 4 different rookies having decent-sized roles on the team, I don't know if I would have believed you, but I also would not have not believed you. Look, let's just consider this, right? Who on our team is a rookie right now? Felipe Alou, Jack Fisher, and Fred Green, all 3 of whom are playing very important roles on the team. Then we have Jim Marshall and Dan Dobak, who are very important backups. That's 5 rookies playing important roles, and they'll see some meaningful playing time over the course of this season. So I'm really curious to see how we do this year. Should be interesting. Okay, my friends, let us begin simulating the game of baseball. It's 5 weeks for Tony Kubek. Coot, welcome to the big leagues. Willie Miranda, don't fuck up. That makes me look kind of a jerk, doesn't it? Like, I'm like, oh, Coot Veal, you're amazing. Willie Miranda, just don't fuck up. But that's really how I feel about it. I'm not really sold on Miranda's ability to be an everyday shortstop, but I also kind of don't have a choice. So we're just going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it. Okay, will everyone take demotions? I bet Eddie Robinson will not. He did not. Is there anybody interesting on the block of trading? Tommy Brown is a really good shortstop, but he's not a very good hitter. He's a really good shortstop, though. I just want to see if I can do Robinson for... what's his fuck here? You're asking for people I can't give up, friends. So if that's what you're looking for, I'll just cut. I mean, I guess I should at least shop Eddie Robinson one last time. See if we can bring something of value back. He really can't. I'm being offered some pretty terrible replacements, so I'm just going to release him. Eddie, you've been a loyal Dodger for the past 4 seasons. Thank you for your service. But don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. It's a hacker. Nice Nice work, Cardwell. And a good start to the Major League career of one Felipe Alou. Cool story, bros. Oh boy, I can have Don Basent back. Who cares? I sure don't. Go to the minors. Oh, fine. I'll put you back on the 40-man, but seriously, go to the minors. Mr. Kubak, I welcome your return with open arms. Important question, though. No, Miranda actually is a better shortstop than Coot. But the difference is Miranda can only really play short, and while he's got good range, his errors are a big problem. He's not really contributed much for us. Let's go ahead and waive Mr. Willie Miranda. The Coot is in charge now of being our #1 backup. Nice work, Mike Garcia. You know, Mike Garcia wasn't exactly a barn burner when we acquired him, but damn if he hasn't really helped us out a lot. He has cleared waivers. I banish you to the minor leagues. Okay, that's not cool. That is not cool. Jim Marshall, this is not what I envisioned for you, but you're going into the lineup. Well, we can reactivate Bill Taylor. He can be a backup, I guess. But yeah, Jim Marshall, you're now my starting left fielder. I said I wanted him to get lots of playing time, just not this way. Not this way. So it's going to be real interesting. Because Mickey Mantle is Mickey fucking Mantle, and it's impossible to replace him, but we have to. God damn it, Turley. Well, actually you suck, but still. Gil, my patience is running low with you and your continued whining and crying. Oh no, look at Mickey Mantle's contact. Just went into the toilet. Yikes. So, what's going on? Why are we 11 games out of a playoff spot? Well, there's Sherm Lawler and Don Hogue completely vanishing from offensive talent. There's Don Cardwell really badly struggling to pitch well. His peripherals aren't bad. The walk rate is a concern, though. I think he'll get it under control. He's maybe just struggling a little bit. Our defense is really not good. Who is so terrible defensively that they're hurting the team? Please don't tell me it's Tony Kubak. It's not that terrible. That's a lot of errors for Manioso and for Hogue, by the way, though. But Yeah, this all strikes me as Don Cardwell being really unlucky. And Fred Green not pitching to the very best he could be, but also maybe he'll pitch better once he gets some more time. But also, Don Hogue is not very good this season. I still don't trust Maz, though, to play up any higher than he is. Tony Kubek, maybe. You know what? Let's try it. Let's bump Kubek to hitting second, and then Hogue can hit here. Oh, Bill Mazeroski is looking like a real disappointment so far. He's basically replacement level. And while that's not a terrible thing, it's certainly not good enough for a team that has postseason aspirations. What looked like a smart time to move on is really proving to be not that. And we might be in the market for a better second baseman in the very, very near future. You have to remember, the reason that the real Bill Mazeroski made the Hall of Fame is literally one hit, the home run in the 1961 World Series where he played for the Pirates. And he was a decent defender in real life, but for whatever reason that doesn't translate well to the game, calling him a good defender. And so that is very disconcerting. It was 61, right? When he hit that home run to help the Pirates win the World Series. Or do I have the wrong year? I'm too lazy to look it up. It's fine. But yeah, Bill Mazeroski is, by all accounts, a good dude, but not really a Hall of Famer. And I don't think we're making the playoffs this year. You're offering me garbage. I reject your garbage. No Dodgers there. I am pretty happy with our Major League coaching staff for the most part. I don't really see a ton of room to improve. I think Gordon Rhodes has done very, very good. I am happy to bring him back for another 3 years. I think Eddie Pick has been an outstanding hitting coach. Let's just run it back with all the other coaches, and so I don't have to worry about it next season. We still might get a couple coaches retire. I'm looking at you, Eddie Pick. You seem like a pretty good bet to retire. How is Claude Austin doing? He is not doing well at all. Well, as long as you keep starting 126 games a year, I'm sure you'll be fine. Okay, friendos. Who made it from the Dodgers? Look at that rotation for Pittsburgh. That's pretty scary. Mickey Mantle still made the All-Star team, which is pretty funny. So did Minnie Minoso and Jackie Brandt. I love how Mickey Mantle is so freaking good that even when he doesn't play, he still makes the All-Star team. I think it might be the end of his reigns as MVP, though. I'm really pleased by how well Minoso has transitioned to being first base. He's been really the rock of the team. The only reason that we're even close to being a 500 team is him. This is just a weird season, guys. It's a really weird season. And we're getting a lot of important contributions from a lot of important players. Jim Marshall, you're not Mickey Mantle. You never will be. But I'm so glad that I gave you a role on this team. You've really helped us keep everything together. Jackie Brandt is having one of the finest seasons of his young career. We're getting a lot of great play from a lot of great players, and we're still one of the best lineups in the major leagues. And our pitching isn't that bad either. It looks like our defense is really letting us down. But the problem is that all of the really great, like, getting rid of the defense would basically involve getting rid of our offense. Because I'm moving Jackie Brandt from center field. I keep coming back to Bill Mazeroski being probably the number one millstone. Because he's not good defensively, he's not good offensively. Don Hogue, I might need to move on from you too. I think you're just aging a little bit too much. So I would take an upgrade at third base or second. For the right price, what do we have available to us? I'm not saying I don't like Eddie Juiced, but I am saying that I don't like him for this team. I want someone a bit younger with a bit more of an upside to him. No. You're basically a slightly better version of Bill Mazeroski with really good plate discipline, which is certainly welcomed. So it turns out that a really good second baseman is hard to find. My issue with Bradfacer is that he's basically Bill Mazeroski. And that he actually hasn't made a single error this season in only 10 innings. I could probably get him pretty cheaply, though, because for whatever reason, the White Sox just seem to refuse to give him an everyday starting job. He certainly looks like he's earned it. Let's see what it would cost to acquire you. You'll do it straight up for Maz? I will take this deal. I will take this deal, and I will happily see... All he has to do is be better than replacement level, and he, I think, will be. Next on the agenda, Hal Smith is now my starting catcher. Sherm, as good as you'd been in the past, the fact is you just haven't been very good this season, so I'm going to transition you to being a backup. Third, I need to acquire a new third baseman if I can manage it. And I will give up Hogue if it means getting a third baseman that I can be proud of. The question is, it's going to be even harder to find a third baseman, though, than it was to find a shortstop. Or a second baseman, rather. Yeah, let me play Bobby Thompson at third base. That'll solve my fucking defensive problems. I mean, Solly Hemus at third base is a really weird choice. I think he'd be better than Hogue, but I'm not really convinced that he would be. Maybe his upgrading from Mazeroski is enough to get us over the hump a bit. And especially maybe benching Lawler will help us out too. Mickey Mantle's going to be back in 7 days. And that's going to completely transform how this roster looks. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, it's going to take even longer. If he stepped in a fucking storm drain like the real Mickey Mantle, I swear to God, I will beat somebody within an inch of their life. Billy, you're not going to be a member of the starting rotation. Only one starter is pitching badly, and he's the best young starter I've got. So you're just going to kind of need to suck that up. Fred Green, get your shit together, please. Alright, we got the Mick back, which is excellent news, to be sure. I'm going to get rid of Bill Taylor. That's a no-brainer. Yeah, so, hey, Mick, you're immediately going back into your lineup where you were. But Jim Marshall, I cannot understate how important you've been this entire season. Look, know that the fact I am benching you is not personal. It's Mickey fucking Mantle, the 6-time MVP. I can't not play him. So let's see how he does the rest of the way. Guess what, Billy Pierce? You're gonna get your wish. Oh, here you go, Red. You can come back to the big leagues, I guess. You're gonna get to start, so congratulations. We're still thin at starting pitcher. Yeah, Sherm, no. You're not starting anymore. You've done nothing to prove to me that you deserve to start this season. I don't know about you guys. I don't think we're making the World Series this year. Gil, you're not a member of the starting lineup. You just aren't. Like, there'd have to be, like, a seriously bad plane crash for you to even be in the conversation to be in the starting lineup. That's just how it is, my friend. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but... yeah, you're not starting ever for any reason. Oh, good. Look at Tony Kubek taking a leap forward. That's exciting news. Very exciting news. That's fine, Don. You're entitled to a dead arm. Oh well. Is it a bit disappointing that we're not going to the World Series? Obviously. Am I surprised? I'm not. Joe Torre, Ron Santo, Juan Marichal. That's 3 Hall of Famers there. Although, admittedly, Joe Torre made it as a manager, but to be honest, the stats say he also was a decent choice to be a Hall of Famer as a third baseman slash catcher. Okay, a batting title for a player on the Dodgers, the initials MM, and it's not Mickey Mantle, is not something I would have expected at the beginning of the season. Fair play to the Pirates. Hey, Sherm, don't hit 224 and you won't get benched. That's just how it is, my guy. Well, friends, that didn't go as well as we might have hoped. But let's talk about what did happen this season. And let's discuss what we think might happen in the future. So first of all, let's sort all of our hitters by WAR. Manny Minoso. Again, MM leads the National League in WAR, and it's not Mickey Mantle. Is he going to win MVP? You know, I wouldn't count on it. But he was everything I wanted this season. The decision to place him at first base was clearly one of the best decisions he made all season. Yeah, he made a bunch of errors. I don't care when you're hitting 58% better than the average major leaguer. Let's not lose sight of the fact that Mickey fucking Mantle played 101 games and still was worth 5 wins above replacement. Mickey, what a guy. Just what a guy. Jackie Brandt. I would like to reward my players somehow for the simple fact that when the best player in Major League Baseball got hurt, we picked up the slack like fucking champs. Like literally, player after player turned in some of the best performances of their entire careers to make sure that we still won 81 games. This was a good team that just wasn't outstanding. Jackie Brandt is an awful center fielder. But the thing, he's also been a lot better in the past. So I'm wondering if maybe this is just like a one-year fluke kind of thing. Tony Kubek turned in an outstanding second season for us. Led the league in doubles. Very exciting. And despite all the errors, was still a pretty good shortstop. Rookie Felipe Alou was given the keys to the kingdom in right field and played very well. Very well indeed. You can't argue with any rookie hitting 300 and slugging almost 500. Jim Bradfacer was really quite good down the stretch. He stabilized us offensively, and he was a pretty fair second baseman on top of that. Jim Marshall. It cannot be overstated how important he was to this team. Like, Minnie Mignosa was the best player on this team this year. That played the whole season. I think Minnie Mignosa was the best player. But what Jim Marshall did is he filled in for the best player in all of Major League Baseball and didn't embarrass himself. He wasn't as good as Mickey Mantle, which is fine. There's many, many players who are not that good. But he still proved that he is in the conversation for one of the better players that we have. Hal Smith. I think he has earned our respect and our trust to be our starting catcher next season. He was pretty good, and I'm fine with him starting as our catcher. I know Sherm Lawler's kind of grumpy. He's either going to accept the fact that he's going to be a backup, or he's going to have to find a new team. Don Hogue is the next guy that I think has to go from this team. It's one thing to be bad defensively, but be Jackie Brandt and make up for your defensive questionable talents. It's another thing to be bad at defense and be a third baseman who doesn't have elite offensive skills. Now, it is very reasonable, maybe even likely to say, that Mr. Hogue here is just the victim of bad luck. And it was the lowest season of his career by far. But I think that's a clear area to upgrade his third base. If we can get a better third baseman this offseason, I think that would really help us out. Boy, I don't know too about Jim Marshall. Like, he's happy, so I'm happy. But I'd really like to find a way to get him more at-bats. But I certainly don't trust him to play third base. That's a given. I'll have to think about that one. Let's talk about the pitching. So Willard Nixon consistently pitches above his tools, and I love that about him. If you looked only at his ratings, you would not think he'd be consistently a good pitcher, but he has been a rock for us. He has been an absolute unit of a pitcher, and he's consistently contributed at a very high level. Don Cardwell. He was off to a bad start in terms of ERA this season, but everything else about him, his walk rate went up. That does concern me. That's the one thing I'm looking at about his line and going, that is problematic. But the rest of his game is mostly fine. He's still a very talented pitcher, and I think he still has all the talent in the world. Hal Brown has been a nice acquisition for us. Not a great ERA, though. Looks like all of our pitchers struggle a little bit. Jack Fisher came in as a rookie and did very fine work. I'm not saying he is the ace of all aces. They call him Fat Jack. 6'2", 215 isn't that fat. I mean, I weigh about 215 pounds, so I'm about 8 inches shorter than that. 8 inches? No, that's not right. I'm about 5'9". Math is hard. Math is hard. That's about 5 inches. Fred Green took a while, but still provided positive value. I think there's still more to his game. And remember, he's only 26. He can always get better. Ned Garber's career might be just about over. This is a guy who got injured last year, missed most of the season, and comes back and pitches like this. That's not exciting or good. Billy Pierce, man. If there's one trade I could have back, it's not really this one. I mean, Wayne Cossey is a very good... Oh, you made him into a third baseman. Oh, dang. Yeah. Yeah. You're still not playing him every day, though. Could we get him back? Oh, wow. Okay. Fine, be that way, jerks. But no, it's that's just a rare example of a trade that I made that just completely bit me on the ass. Mostly because Billy Pierce instantly disappeared the moment he put on Dodger Blue. He was just... I look at the scouting report, right? He was a bona fide ace when we acquired him. He was a bona fide ace, and then he went... He just completely vanished. And what's most frustrating about him completely vanishing is his injuries were a couple of years before that. So, not ideal. That trade really bit us in the ass. There's no sugarcoating that whatsoever. Mike Garcia had a good year, too. So, yeah. We need a better third baseman. We need better injury luck. But I am not unhappy with how this team did. I am not unhappy at all. Pardon me. Let's see here. So we're with the Dodgers till 1965. Very good. Very good. We only lost 3 more games in the previous season, so you know what? I will take that. That will conclude today's episode, though. I hope you've been enjoying the series thus far. Do remember that tomorrow we're going to be doing episode 2 of the Cleveland Browns series using Draft Day Source for Football 2022. I'm really excited how that game did the first video, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how we go on from there. But yeah, until next time, this has been Ned Garber, and thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.